Welcome back to the Malted Man Cave. I'm Keith.
I'm Dave.
And tonight we're going to be doing a bourbon. It's been a while. We're going to be reviewing a bourbon from Heaven Hill coming up. Alright, so we're back. And as I said, tonight we're going to be doing a bourbon from Heaven Hill. I know you're going to be super excited. I thought about it, I was like, we're going to do a bourbon tonight, and Dave's going to be in a good place. So we're going to be doing Evan Williams single barrel.
I'm already in a good place.
Evan Williams. Yeah. We just watched the Buckeyes bring home the victory in Curb Stomp, Michigan.
Already in a good place.
This is a celebratory review, if you will.
Yeah.
So we're going to be drinking Evan Williams single barrel, and this is the 2009 vintage. Ever heard of Evan Williams?
Oh, yes. Who hasn't? They sell it in the little plastic bottles at my local gas station.
So you've had the normal black label?
Yeah. What I'm sure everybody's had that common Evan Williams bottle.
Yep. I don't think we've reviewed that yet.
No, it is what it is.
All right, so this is pretty special that it's a single barrel and it's like really cheap. Like literally, I mean, you can't find this everywhere. In fact, I think some people have a hard time getting a hold of it, but if you can find it, it's like $25. $25. Like it's crazy cheap. So as I said, this is the 2009 vintage. Comes in at 43.3% ABV. It was barreled on 11/4/2009, and it was bottled on, February 18th, 17. So about 8 years old, right? Give or take.
Yeah.
This is barrel number 431 for you whiskey geeks. So a little bit about Heaven Hill. How much do you? I mean, I know you know that they're the distillery that had a catch on fire.
Rest in peace. R.I.P. Yeah. What is this worth now?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like,
did their stock really get hit by?
I bet you it did back then. But they're family run. At least last I read, they're family owned. I think it's the Shapiro family. I think.
Yeah.
Located in Bardstown, Kentucky. And Evan Williams is a brand. They have multiple brands that are on. Elijah Craig is one, which you were definitely a fan of.
Which this reminds me a lot
McKenna 10 is Heaven Hill, Rittenhouse Rye, Pikesville Rye. They make good.
Hallie has family that live in Bardstown.
Really?
We should go, man.
You
and me just show up, be like, "Hey, weird, but
staying for free."
Guess
but
what?
We brought whiskey.
Guess what? Man, no, it's delicious. I'm glad that you shared tonight with. After the Buckeyes victory, we can have a little bourbon.
So a little fun fact. I think probably most people who are watching this probably know. Elijah Craig, who was one of the founders of Heaven Hill, he's kind of considered to be one of the founding fathers of bourbon, and he's also generally considered to be the first guy. Now this is debated. Who came up with charring the barrel? To give it
really?
That, caramelized. It really brings it out, and it makes the liquid darker too. So.
I always thought that was to better seal the barrel.
Really?
Yeah.
Nope. It kind of brings out the vanillins, and it kind of caramelizes like the sugar vanillins and all that. And
beautiful.
Anything more about this whiskey? The mash bill. What?
Nope.
Nope. But I lied.
You were misinformed.
Alright, the mash bill.
Keith is in no mood tonight.
The mash bill is 75% corn. I think 13%. Is that 13?
Where did you find that eventually?
Oh my. 13% rye and I think 12% malted barley, which is kind of a common ratio. Whenever you have 75%, typically it's 13% rye and 12% malted barley. It's just kind of a weird trend out there. Alright. What do you got on the nose, buddy?
Oh, man. I told you this kind of hits all the pillars of bourbon as far as cinnamon. The first thing was it smelled like my mother's old lady bathroom. The bathroom, like...
I thought you were going somewhere completely different, right? I'm like, smells like my mother's.
Smells like my mother's. No, the bathroom that you're not allowed to go into when you're a kid, like the company bathroom or whatever, with like the delicate soaps and stuff.
You know, it's funny because, you know, a lot of like whiskeys,
Yeah.
like kind of sometimes bourbon and then sometimes, and I think I'm probably ruining your punchline, is about potpourri, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you
Yeah,
meant?
yeah, exactly.
So, a lot of times, like in like sherry whiskeys can have that potpourri smell.
Yeah.
And it kind of ruins it for me because
Am
whenever I think of
ruining this for
potpourri,
you?
you know, like whenever people go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
then they spray like the potpourri spray.
Yeah.
So it's always like potpourri and
Boom. Evan
and
Williams.
crap. So I always then have all these associations with poop and potpourri. But no, this is delicious.
Take a smell. Take a smell.
Potpourri, and then I'm just waiting for the crap smell to be lurking in the back, but it's
There's
not
no-
there.
no,
But guess
no,
what? It's not
delicious,
there.
it's delicious.
It's not there.
It's delicious. No, but yeah, so it reminded me of cinnamon sticks from those those bundled decorative cinnamon sticks that you would pull up to your nose. Those vanilla. It's cherry, but it was like burnt cherries. I didn't know how to describe it.
It's probably cherries and then the oaky taste that you probably you're
So
mixing
yeah, oak, and then it has a little bit on the nose. I described it as horseradish heat. It's like sticking
I
your
don't think
nose.
I've had horseradish ever. Or if
Yeah.
I did, it was early on in my childhood, and I decided, as my 2-year-old likes to say now, don't like it, don't like it,
No.
don't like it. He won't say no. He says, don't like it, don't like it.
Butterscotch. Rounding it off is butterscotch.
Yep.
A creamy butterscotch.
So whatever reason, I wrote this in my notes. The very first time that when I was reviewing and getting out my tasting notes, I think I just had a drink of Balvenie 15 single barrel, the bourbon matured one, not the sherry one, the bourbon
The
matured.
good one.
And I definitely smell a little bit. It reminds me a lot of the Balvenie 15 single barrel. Vanilla cheesecake, caramel, all of the amazing notes I get in a lot of bourbons. Cherries, like you said, slight appley note. Maybe even like a little bit like apple pie, slightly. No, it's more just apples.
Yeah.
Like if they're like kind of like this apple mix that you would put into an apple pie.
Yeah.
And then I put, and this is not off-putting, but there's like a slight glue note.
Glue?
Yeah.
Did somebody say glue?
What are you gonna on thought?
Kind of reminds me of camp. Like being in a bunch of oak trees. So oak, vanilla, cinnamon, all of the nosings. It doesn't have as much bite as I kind of thought on the after my little heat horseradish note. It's very easy just to drink it. So I wrote easy sipper. Have you ever had sweet heat jalapeno relish?
Mm-mm.
It's a local.
I don't do relish.
You don't do relish? Mm-mm. Dude, you would do this relish.
Isn't horseradish like
It's
part of
jalapeno.
relish?
No, this is a jalapeno relish. It's like minced jalapenos. It's got in it. It's sweet and it's hot. It reminds me very much of
What
this.
is relish? Is it celery cut up with
No. Relish can be anything diced up into kind of a
Pickle.
jelly.
pepperiness?
Maybe. If that's what's in the relish.
So there's like a million different types of relish.
Yeah, this is sweet and hot. You would like it.
Really?
It's really good with cream cheese and Ritz crackers.
I think it was one of those things where, like, you know, when you try it when you're young and then you just never try it again.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but there's a million things I didn't like when I
Yeah.
was a kid. Now I love it. So
No, it's not like
need to give
pickle.
a
It doesn't
try.
have pickles in it or.
I like
a pickle
pickles, though.
relish. Do you like pickle relish?
I don't know. Again, I haven't had relish.
The stuff you squeeze on your. No? Alright.
I need to, though. Wonder if we have any hot dogs. We'll make a trip to the store after this. Actually, sounds pretty good.
Boil? Do you boil hot dogs or do you grill them?
I like to grill them first and
You
foremost.
like to grill 'em?
But if
I have a
the
buddy
moment
that's.
demands it and I cannot, I will boil or microwave.
our European watchers are like, hot dogs, Americans.
You know what? Like, there's this whole big thing about like in Scotland, like they do haggis, which is like basically kind of the same, like intestines and like all the bad parts of the animal like ground up.
The good parts of the animal.
And all of us are like, no, and then they're like, dude, hot dogs are even worse. And I'm like,
P.S.
We blocked that out in our
100%
minds.
beef means
yeah. I actually don't. If you notice, anytime you come over for a grill, you notice that they're always brats and not hot dogs.
Oh, good.
Except for the kids.
Good.
All right. What else you get on the palate?
I just put down that it had a sweetness to it. Definitely from all those bourbon notes that it hit. How about you?
So, initially, this kind of like the slight bitter, and I put almost like it's like the slight bitter oakiness that like goes into an almost like cream soda. But I don't get that like intense sweetness that you get with cream soda. It's almost like a cream soda, like a diet cream soda that didn't have like a lot of sugar in it. Like it's not like a super sweetened cream soda. If that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Made sense in my mind when I wrote down the note. They were like, no. We're going to my friend.
I did write down oranges. It reminded me of something like an orange.
Cherries again. And this time I got a little like peanut, like nuttiness that I actually think it's like Snicker bars. If I'm biting into Snicker bars, a little chocolate, a little peanut.
Yeah.
Again, vanilla cheesecake, kind of caramel, all the bourbon, typical bourbon notes. And then, lastly, a little, like sour, like a slight sour note, like slight sour corn syrup, and then like a little powdered nutmeg at the end. Pretty delicious stuff.
So descriptive.
What do you get? I have a lot more time with it.
I know,
I just make up stuff.
But I love that you and I
make up stuff.
Every single who does it? We've all been there.
I make up stuff.
Smells like linen.
I actually
everybody's like, yeah. I'm just kidding.
I really actually do think that some smells.
Dude, I wrote it smelled like walking into a clothing store, so that it must have been a note.
It is a note.
Yeah. No, so this was, like I said, it hit all the pillars of a good bourbon. It was delicious. I do wish it, like everything, had a little bit more.
Really? You wish the ABV was higher? More kick?
Maybe.
Because I thought you were digging this more because it is lower. I know, I'm not saying, because I know sometimes you do like higher strength bourbons and whiskeys, but I think as a whole, sometimes you'd err more towards
I would. I just feel like, does that mean it should have aged a little bit longer? Should have sat a little longer?
If what? What do you
For a higher ABV?
No.
No, not necessarily.
What do you mean? Normally they water a lot of the distilleries. They water it down because they're trying to spread it out.
Okay.
And get more bottles out of it.
Okay.
Now, something that I was kind of confused about when I first got into whiskey, because I always, first fell in love with Scotch before I fell in love with bourbon. And in Scotland, because of the climate, every year they lose like 1 to 2% of the ABV. So if it starts at like 70% ABV, like the next year it'll be 68%. And you can kind of tell like the age of it by what the ABV is. Like, a 12-year-old, it's going to be about this
So
ABV.
a younger bottle might.
Then this is why I was like really confused when I was like reading about bourbon and stuff. Because of the hot climate in Kentucky, sometimes let's see the water, instead of the alcohol evaporating, more of the alcohol doesn't, but the water evaporates out. And so then what's left is higher density ABV, and actually the ABV goes up.
Okay. So
but then it can also lose it too. It's like a whole kind of play. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not always, it's not one size fits all.
Right. That makes sense. Anyways, no, it's great exactly how it is. I was just trying to find one little critique to put on it, because other than that, it's a very, very, very good whiskey.
So
Bourbon whiskey.
For me, and I think most people know where I'm going to go with this, it's just kind of a short to medium, more short than on the medium side. finish. That would be kind of the one negative about this. It's kind of short, kind of thin. Great flavors. I love it. It's kind of, again, the drying oak, cherries, vanilla.
Thin is a good.
Thin.
Thin is a good
and
way
that's
to put it.
and like where I'm heading is that if the ABV was higher, I'd probably enjoy it more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Incredible for being only like $20.
Yeah.
Single barrel, like I would advise this, like pick this up if you find it, if you like bourbon.
Yeah.
It's an amazing deal. So, without further ado, before I influence you,
Yeah.
Malted Man Cave Mark, what are you gonna give this?
I'm gonna give it in because it hits my wheelhouse. I'm gonna give it an 87. 87.
So I want to preface this because I don't distinguish. I think some channels distinguish like, oh, this is a Scotch mark or this is a bourbon. I don't. Whether it's a bourbon, an Irish whiskey, a Scotch, it's all on a scale of 100, and I'm going to give it wherever it's at. So for me, this is really, really good for a bourbon, for what it is, for 43.3%. I'm going to give it an 82.
Let's just say he told me I could take the rest of the bottle home with me, and he doesn't do that very often.
That's not true at all. I sent you Stag Junior home. I'm going to send you with some Colonel E.H. Taylor.
No.
Lies.
No. I know
Lies.
you do. He does. It was just funny because I could tell that your
No.
heart.
It's an 80, like an 82. Like most people,
Heck
if
yeah.
they give it 8 out of 10 stars,
Especially
it's
for
really
the
good.
cost. For the
I just want
cost.
people to know because I'm a pretty liberal scorer that I don't want people to.
We
think
do
it's
have to
lower.
tighten up the reins on our
Exactly.
scoring.
So I would say 82 out of 100, but like I would buy this and I'd have this in my liquor cabinet all day.
All day, every day.
All right.
So 87 for me. So basically a 5-point plus because of my love for
82, 8 stars, 82 out of 100 for me.
All right.
Question of the night. So as we revel in our Ohio State victory over Michigan today, that was a butt kicking. If we weren't buffoons on some of this, it could have been like a 6 to 7 touchdown. But
at least I felt in control the whole time. I'll put it that way.
Exactly.
I don't like feeling.
You do like to be.
I like to be in control.
So we were thinking about rivalries. You know, obviously many people consider the Ohio State-Michigan game to be the game, the biggest rivalry in all of sports. And I think both me and Dave would agree, we think it's the best rivalry, right?
Yeah.
So, because that's kind of not fair, and I knew we both would say that it's the best, I said, what is in our opinion, the second best rivalry in any sport? And we wanted to know what you guys think is the best rivalry in sports. Put in the comments, leave a message. So we're curious. But we're going to put what we think is the second, obviously second to the Ohio State-Michigan game. So, what do you think in all sports? Hockey, baseball, basketball, football?
I'm going to take you back to a magical year. Oh. I'm gonna take this home with me. He said, not taking anything home with me.
Am I allowed to have a little more?
Yeah. No.
Okay, I'm good.
No. Because the story involves you.
I'm getting some more. You keep it.
All right. He's like,
You keep it.
82?
You keep it.
80 out.
I actually legitimately like this whiskey. Like, stop it.
87. 88 after this. So let me take you back to the year.
We'll do a little.
The year is 2001.
All right.
It's winter. There is a distance of maybe 15 miles in between these two schools, and it is a rivalry.
2001.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And one town are the Cedarville Indians.
Oh gosh.
And the other town is the South Charleston Trojans.
Dave's going straight back to high school.
No, that was pretty good rivalry. No, growing up for me, I was always a Cleveland fan, and I had a lot of friends that were Cincinnati friends. So for me, Cleveland-Cincinnati was always the important interstate, whether it was football or baseball, as far as who was dominant for me. So for me, growing up as a kid, it was within the state. Yeah, local, pretty local.
So for me, I do actually I don't think it's as good as Ohio State, Michigan, but I do think the Iron Bowl, Auburn is an awesome rivalry.
Yeah.
Just not quite as good.
No.
Then I had flashbacks to, I used to be a sellout Cowboys fan, like everybody in the 90s.
Dude.
Emmitt Smith,
But
Troy
come
Aikman.
on.
I had my starter Cowboys jacket. Love and life.
Who didn't love
And
some
so-
Emmitt Smith?
So being a Cowboys fan, like those are some awesome battles between like the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
With Steve Young and all those guys. So,
And
but then I also think about Golden State and the Cavs too. So I think I'm gonna stick with the second best rivalry
yeah.
is Cowboys and San Fran for that short period of time when it was like, hardcore.
And because it impacted you during
And just
when
because
you were
I
a
have
kid.
really good memories of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure there's probably
Fun to
some
watch.
better ones, and people are gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" That's
And
not
you know
the
what?
best.
There's going to be some kids during the Cavs, Golden State 4 years that is going to remember that time.
I think the problem with that rivalry is
It's so one-sided.
that Kevin Durant came and just ruined the sport and then just ruined the rivalry. Thanks.
KD to LA next year.
Hashtag.
Calling it.
All right. So tell us what you guys what you think is the best rivalry in all sports.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and as always, sláinte.
Oh man. Federer Nadal.
Good one.